Welcome inside the Klotche Center in Milwaukee, Wisconsin for the second and final day of the 20th running of the Panther Invitational. Our first matchup features the South Dakota Coyotes at 1 victory and 1 defeat, and the New Hampshire Wildcats at 1-1. And a very pleasant good early afternoon. Welcome to our game broadcast on the Black and Gold Network. My name's Matt Menzel. South Dakota coming off day one in which they would go on and lose the opener against Northwestern. 3-1, bounce back, would sweep the Milwaukee Panthers in the nightcap last night. 25-15, 25-14, and 25-16. The Coyotes' victory last night being the 500th in program history. A well-balanced attack already. They've seen 13 players out of a possible 15 see court action. We take a look at the New Hampshire Wildcats. Mentioned they also have 1 victory and 1 defeat. They would begin their season with a victory against Milwaukee, 3-1, bouncing back from a set 1 loss and taking sets 2, 3, and 4 before they would lose against Northwestern, 3-1. Against Northwestern, they would knock off the Wildcats in set number 1 before dropping sets 2, 3, and 4. Despite the fact they have had a number of players contribute already, 14 out of a possible 17 have already seen court action. It has been Gabri Olhava who has led the way with an average of 3.62 kills per set. You take a look at the Coyotes. They've been paced so far by the play, and no surprise, Haley Dotseth, most experienced player perhaps on this active Coyotes roster, averaging 3.14 kills per set. And Madison Juergens, an outstanding job so far in the setter role at 8.86 assists per set for a team that also has been averaging about 16.8 digs per set, and the dig area has been a big strength for the Coyotes the last now couple of seasons. And right now their top defensive player has been Ann Rasmussen, the libero, averaging 5.14 digs per set through 2 matches. For New Hampshire, it's been Emma Petlovich who has been the primary setter, at least through the first couple of matchups as they try to work on getting healthy. The Wildcats, it is, after they were banged up a little bit in training camp with injury. But Petlovich at about 9.88 assists per set. And then defensively, Emily Tansky, who has made the transition from the front row to the back row, playing libero for the first time in her career yesterday, and she was outstanding in the 2 matchups, recording a total of 63 digs. That breaks down an average of 7.8 digs per set. You take a look there for the Coyotes. You saw a second ago Haley Dotseth, Elizabeth Lotion. They were key components yesterday during the team's 1-1 start. And there's a look at Jill Hershinger, the head coach for New Hampshire, back for her 23rd season at the Wildcats helm, and the 39th season for Coach Hershinger as a Division I and or Division II college volleyball head coach. And across the way, Leanne Williamson, back for her 5th season at the South Dakota helm, 10th head coach in the program history. The Heartland, Wisconsin native, now with 77 victories and 47 defeats. And of those 77 wins, 4 have come against Power 5 programs, including a nice victory against Rutgers out of the Big Ten last fall. Her team will get set 1 of the best of 5 underway. Glad to have you along this early afternoon here in Milwaukee on the Black and Gold Network. And Rasmussen beyond that service line for South Dakota. And we're underway on this Saturday. Petlovich on the right side with Maddie Wiedenfeld. Juergens off the lineup with Dotseth. And a point here for the Coyotes. That's the way things begin for South Dakota, getting Haley Dotseth involved immediately. All Summer League honoree last year, part of the all-tournament teams and tournaments in both Hawaii and in Colorado, and certainly will be in the running to be named to the all-tournament team here in the Panther Invitational. Hit a Coyote en route to hitting the ground for Hannah Petke. Scored the point here for New Hampshire. We're tied at 1 here in set number 1. Behind the service line for the Wildcats, Emma Petlovich, part of the America East All-Rookie team last year. She was a 3-time America East Rookie of the Week. Juergens to the outside for Dotseth. That was dug out by Kennedy Smith. Ball set up for Molly Watton. Out of the back, Juergens. Dotseth into the block. Wiedenfeld there for the rejection along with Hannah Petke. New Hampshire yesterday with a total of 12 blocks in 2 matches. They gave up 14 in those matches against Milwaukee and against Northwestern. 2-1 in favor of the Wildcats. They've scored back-to-back. So the windup there by Taylor Wilson. She was active yesterday, especially late in that first matchup against Northwestern. Dotseth with Lotion. Jurgens down the middle with Wilson. Contact though with the net. That's going to go against South Dakota, and the point goes to New Hampshire. They get 3 straight now for the Wildcats, up 3-1. And right now, Kennedy Smith taking this opportunity to tie her left sneaker. We saw this pretty much throughout the day yesterday too with Kennedy Smith, playing in the back row as opposed to playing in front. Still has been a factor no matter where she's been on the court. Although not here as Lotion on the windup. And South Dakota gets the set up following 3 consecutive New Hampshire points. 3-2 in favor of the Wildcats. For the Coyotes, they have brought in Mehana Fonseca, who's been a serve specialist in the first couple of matchups. Wiedenfeld blocked off the setup. Petke had it blocked but deflects out of play. Wilson in front among the pair to get a piece, along with Dotseth. New Hampshire will make a substitution that will see Logan Welty sub in. The junior outside hitter from Middleton, Wisconsin, played her club volleyball with the Wisconsin Select Volleyball Club. Welty, Jurgens, and Dotseth. Ball lands in between the pair. Nice start here for New Hampshire. They lead 5-2. Wildcats off to a pretty good start against Northwestern too in their second matchup of yesterday before things kind of went south. Jurgens, Dotseth, that gets by Emily Tansky. And you look, they won the first set. Northwestern played a spirited second set to win 25-16. But again, to South Dakota's, New Hampshire's credit, they were able to come back there against Northwestern, competed both sets 3 and 4, could not quite get over the hump, losing a couple of tight ones. But they certainly have the experience factor to their credit. Right now, though, only at 5-4. Haley Dotseth serving here for South Dakota. Off the jump serve, Petlovich, Smith. Long run out of the reach of Rasmussen. New Hampshire will take back over up 6-4 as they will sub in Gabri Olhava. What a start she got off to yesterday, in which Olhava came through with 18 kills, one of 3 in double figures for kills against Milwaukee in the season opener for the Wildcats. Able to win their season opener for a second consecutive year after last year was their first season opening victory since 2013. Petlovich to Smith, now into the front, over the block, able to get it down for a kill. Last year, Kennedy Smith, number 2 in the conference, led the team 3.37 kills per set, but also was able to contribute about 4 points a set for this New Hampshire attack. Jurgens with Wilson off of Olhava. Tansky finding Smith into the block of Wilson. Perfectly timed jump as Wilson airborne, got a hand on it. The one-time transfer from Stony Brook, second year now in Vermilion, South Dakota with Coyotes. New Hampshire up 7-5. Wilson serving. Petlovich back to Smith. Kennedy Smith, nice start to this first set. Also quite the effective kill getter her freshman year in 2016. Had 10+ kills on 9 separate occasions, did Kennedy Smith, and she has been a recipient of an all-conference award in each of her first 2 collegiate seasons. Jurgens on the return. First, though, an illegal hit that's going to go against South Dakota. 9-5 in favor of the Wildcats. And for New Hampshire, here's Hannah Petke, the junior right-side hitter from California. Block was Grathoff. Great sides in front for South Dakota and Emily Grathoff, who has been known as a blocker herself. And a timeout being taken here by South Dakota. They're down 10-5 here in set number 1. Great start here again for New Hampshire. Already some strong showings, which includes 3 kills for Kennedy Smith and a couple of others added by Hannah Petke. Again, we mentioned New Hampshire, what they were able to do yesterday, and when you break down those matchups against Milwaukee, they hit about 243. They had 3 in double figures for kills, led by Ohava's 18, and again prior to her previous career best had been 17 kills, but also Emma Patlovich had a career best of 47 assists, and then Emily Tansky had a career best of 28 digs in her first opportunity in the libero jersey, and she's had 3 different color libero jerseys, going from pink to highlighter yellow to now you see that light blue in the background. But New Hampshire followed that performance up. They had a couple hours of a break and then would go on and face Northwestern. New Hampshire hit 190, again at 3 players in double figures in kills, all with 11. That being Ohava, Smith, and Petke. Another 32 assists for Patlovich, although we did see the number 2 setter who split the responsibilities with Patlovich a year ago, that being Molly Jerezic. She saw some playing time in that matchup against Northwestern. Ended up coming on and would play in a couple of sets. But then 35 more digs for Tansky, able to surpass her first match performance, and again she was one of 3 in double figures in digs. Wildcats coming off a year in which they went 13-14. Last year their first losing season since going 10-20 in 2011, and snapped a streak of 4 consecutive 20-plus win seasons. Dotseth to Ohava, and now Jurgens. Patlovich, Ohava, that was dug out of the back. That by Fonseca, and then right at Tansky, and New Hampshire looking for a net violation. They will get it. That's going to go against South Dakota, so New Hampshire will take what is now 11-5 advantage. Petke, Jurgens, out of the back with Dotseth. That splits a couple. You had Tansky, you had Welty in that back row for the Wildcats. And now substitution here for the Coyotes. Lotion back in, a Summit League Freshman of the Year and All-Freshman Team honoree in 2016. Jurgens, a redshirt last year. Patlovich, not much flight and no recovery for Tansky. Got a piece of it, but into the net. And the Coyotes making a mini run. They're back to within 4, 11-7. Jurgens, a redshirt freshman, can get a fine job in her first 2 collegiate matches as a setter, taking over for Brittany Jessen. Side out here now for New Hampshire. The Wildcats will sub Molly Watton in. Serve coming for Kennedy Smith. Smith, part of the all-rookie team in the America East in 2016, a first-team all-conference honoree in 2017. Come up, and she comes up here with the service ace, was all ECAC second team last fall as well. New Hampshire now with a total of 10 service aces on the year. Smith with her first. Had a couple of service errors in the 2 matchups yesterday, and that's a service error here. Smith very effective a couple of years ago when it came to the service aces, although last year she was 4th on the team. But you go back to 2016 and for Kennedy Smith, well, 7th in the conference in aces per set. Already a couple of service aces for New Hampshire, 1 credited to South Dakota. But right now the Wildcats lead 13-8, looking to add more. Petke, Rasmussen, I'm back to Lotion. Block was ready with Watton and Ohava. We've had 1 tie and 1 lead change early, but it's been New Hampshire in the driver's seat. Following the attacking error against Lotion, a service error against Gabri Ohava. She's been all conference last couple of years. A second teamer in 2016, elevated her play last year to be first team All-America East. But after she was a 2-time all-conference selection during her time at John Hersey High School in Illinois. Calls Mount Prospector home. Was also named the team MVP last year at the New Hampshire volleyball team banquet. Patlovich floats it to Rasmussen. Jurgens down the middle, and Wilson comes up with the kill. Taylor Wilson, her first kill in this set, to go along with 1 attacking error. See Coach Williamson talked about it in depth yesterday. Her return here to Milwaukee, a Milwaukee Panther during her volleyball playing days from 2004 through 2007. Friends and family in the stands to watch her face her alma mater last night, and an impressive showing by South Dakota in the 3-set sweep, especially when you look at the way they came out in set number 2. Milwaukee, nice little run at the end to make that a little bit closer, but I mean, at one point it was upwards of a 16-point lead for South Dakota before that mini run by Milwaukee in set 2. Welty. Juergens on the windup by Wilson. Slid across with lift. You can see the head official asking the line judge if he's all right after he took quite a shot. 16-11 New Hampshire. Welty with Patlovich to Petke. Rasmussen, Juergens, and the windup on that far side. We're now seeing for South Dakota, Jenna Wagemester into the lineup, the freshman outside hitter from Cedar Rapids, Iowa. Ended up playing in 7 out of all 7 sets yesterday and came on and contributed 11 kills. She was among 4 for the Coyotes, who had 10+ digs in the 2 matches combined. Tansky. Here's Juergens. Wagemester. Substitution now for South Dakota. We'll see Lola Weideman sub in. She played 4 out of a possible 7 sets yesterday. Came out for serve purposes. Weideman, a freshman from Center Point, Iowa, where she was a 3-time first-team all-conference selection and a 2-time all-state honorable mention as a 4-year starter. New Hampshire back up by 6 at 18-12. Ohava with that latest kill, that gives her a total of 2. It's been Smith who's led the way with 4 for the Wildcats attack. Petke. And coming across off the right hand by Grathoff. Patlovich down the middle with Ohava. A couple of players sliding separate directions. The ball still splits the pair. And it forces a timeout here for South Dakota. They're out of timeouts as New Hampshire leads 19-12. And they're talking about the Coyotes and their day yesterday. Open up their season against Northwestern. Lost the opener. Did the Coyotes, who again bounced back, won the second set, hit 103 for the matchup. Had one player in double figures for kills, that being Taylor Wilson with 10, but a nice balance attack which included 9 kills for Haley Dotseth and 8 for Elizabeth Loshin. But it was Madison Juergens in her debut as the team setter after sitting out and watching a year ago, who came through with a total of 30 assists. Thereafter, there are 4 in double figures for digs, and again, if you follow Coyotes volleyball, that's no surprise. The dig statistic and the strength has been one of the stronger points for South Dakota, and they were paced with a 19 for Ann Rasmussen. Last year was part of the All-Summit League team, was a 4-time Summit League Defensive Player of the Week, was the South Dakota libero. But then the Coyotes, nightcap against Milwaukee at 224. 13 kills for Haley Dotseth, again a balanced attack because she was the only player in double figures for kills. Juergens had 32 assists. 3 service aces for both Juergens and Fonseca. The team had 10 service aces in all compared to just 3 service errors. And then 2 in double figures for digs, led by 17 for Rasmussen. But another 2 had 9 apiece for a team that had an 11 block performance collectively. They've had 11 blocks now in each of their first 2 matches. They right now have 1 block in this one. They trail by 7 at 19-12. And the serve continues for Hannah Petke. Juergens on back with Grathoff. That gets the job done. Another one of those players that had the opportunity to sit out last year and take in the 2017 season and making the transition from high school to this level of competition, and now being thrown out there and has taken on a very important role down the middle. Well, Smith on the kill, giving her 5 now. That's a high in this match. Still dropping on the service line with Molly Watton into the front row for New Hampshire. 20-13 Wildcats. An impressive first set. Juergens. And a long return from Wagemester. Smith. already in this first set with one of the team's 2 service aces. New Hampshire also with a couple of service errors early in this matchup. Juergens, Lotion, and Lotion delivering the kill. That is 21-14 in favor of New Hampshire. Coyotes making a substitution. Lauren Sauer, a defensive specialist, over to Smith. Patlovich back with Petke. Block was ready as that one goes into the net, but again, the block was ready. Grathoff was in front. Same thing with Dotseth. It will go down as an attacking error against Petke and a 6-point New Hampshire lead. Sauer, Tansky, Patlovich, Olhava off the dig. Grathoff with the setup. That for Dotseth, who was looking to find her positioning and footing. Rasmussen with Juergens to the outside with Dotseth, and that deflects off a New Hampshire player. I believe Olhava got a piece of it in front. Nice little run here for South Dakota to keep hope alive here in set one. They've scored the last 3. They're down by 5. The Coyotes have scored 4 of the last 6 overall after at one point New Hampshire able to build a lead at 19-12, 20-13. Nice save by Dotseth, but nothing thereafter. For the Wildcats, they will sub Maddie Wiedenfeld back in. Wiedenfeld played 7 out of a possible 8 sets yesterday. And following a mop to the floor, following a spill with a couple of players diving after that deflected ball. Olhava, her jump serve to the back row with Rasmussen. Juergens, and that was tapped over by Lotion. Here with Watton. Juergens with Dotseth, dug out by Smith. Patlovich on the return, and she finds the gap. They call that the ring of fire in between that front and back row. Perfect placement by the setter, Patlovich. And New Hampshire leads 23-16. Olhava just did across the top tape. Lotion back to Smith, over with Lotion tapping it. Also get a piece of it did Watton. Kept alive by Olhava, tapped over by Wiedenfeld. Juergens on the return, and she finds that gap between the front and back row. So both setters taking an opportunity to score a point. Juergens with her first kill, also has 10 assists already with a service ace and a dig in this first set. Patlovich to Wiedenfeld. Juergens down the middle, the wingspan, and the ups of Wilson. In her second year with South Dakota, New Hampshire will take a timeout. But for Wilson, her first year with the Coyotes, she played in 23 of 28 matches at 29 blocks, 113 kills at 283. But when you look at her season best, had a season best of 13 kills in a matchup against Oral Roberts, that being the Summit League Tournament semifinal on the 18th of November. And now she's come out here in her first couple of matchups, had 17 kills, couple of errors, and 1 service ace, couple of digs. Has factored in 9 blocks as Taylor Wilson for the Coyotes. They won't go away here in this first set, and we've seen that from South Dakota these last couple of days. Team that has 7 freshmen, no sophomores, 4 juniors, 4 seniors for a roster of 15. They have 7 newcomers to go along with the 8 letter winners, 4 starters back intact, and a couple of players who redshirted last year. They're now back in uniform, getting the opportunity to emerge, including Emily Grathoff, who was still among the 7 freshmen listed on the Coyotes roster. Look at her. Hang tough here in this first set, down 5. We've had 1 tie and 1 lead change. Otherwise, again, New Hampshire has been in the driver's seat, and rightfully so. When you look at some of the numbers, they're hitting .370 for the matches. Coach Hershinger's team, .370 with 13 kills, only 3 errors, at least on the attack. Got a couple of service errors and a receive error, so about 6 points they've given out. But South Dakota hitting .147 with 7 attacking errors of their own. Good start for Smith with 5 kills. Petke. Jurgens. Lotion. And we will have the out-of-bounds call here is going to go against New Hampshire, so South Dakota down by 4. 3 straight now for the Coyotes. Rasmussen, defensive specialist, in this case the libero from Oak Creek, Wisconsin. Wisconsin Lutheran High School, 4-year starter, all-time leader in digs and single-season digs record holder for the Wisconsin Lutheran High School Vikings. Punched over, and before it could be by Wilson, we will have a double hit whistled against South Dakota. And so New Hampshire, despite a little bit of a scare, with an opportunity to close out this first set right here. Emma Patlovich, born in Massachusetts, calls Lake Forest, Illinois her home. Floats it over. Jurgens back with Lotion. Back in for South Dakota, Fonseca. One-time transfer from Central Oklahoma. Out goes Lotion. Still set point here for New Hampshire. Patlovich. Jurgens. Again catching New Hampshire by surprise. 24-21. What it's worth, as you see on the scoreboard, Wildcats have 1 timeout remaining, but still facing set point. Fonseca will send it long, and New Hampshire will take this first set 25-21. 1 tie, 1 lead change. Otherwise, New Hampshire in the driver's seat, they hang on for the victory despite the efforts of the Coyotes to play comeback late. Set 2 comes your way next. It's day 2 of the 20th running of the Panther Invitational, and you're tuning to Women's College Volleyball on the Black and Gold Network. First all-time meeting between South Dakota and New Hampshire taking place here from the neutral site of Milwaukee, Wisconsin. It's the second and final day of the Panther Invitational. Both teams coming in with 1 victory and 1 defeat, and set 1 going the route of New Hampshire, 25-21. Again, 1 tie, 1 lead change in that set that would see South Dakota hit 216 At 15 kills, paced by 4 for both Dotseth and Loshin. 13 assists for Madison Jurgens. Also 8 digs for Lauren Sauer with 1 team block. As for New Hampshire, at 333, led by 5 kills for Kennedy Smith, 3 for Gabriel Hava, 11 assists for Emma Patlovich, and then 4 digs credited so far to Kennedy Smith. The team has a total of 2 blocks. South Dakota making a little run there at the end, but New Hampshire able to hold off thanks to a service error. Both teams with a couple of service errors. Emma Patlovich will start the second shift in New Hampshire. You're hoping not to repeat what happened in your last match, which would see them knock off Northwestern in set 1 before dropping sets 2, 3, and 4. Looking to feed and build off that first set victory. Smith, Tansky, Smith. And now set up down the middle and a kill in front involving Emily Grathoff. Couple of kills now. And for Grathoff. And now into the lineup for South Dakota's Lauren Sauer. Part of the All-Summer League freshman team back in 2015 was Sauer. Will play the ball to that back row. Jurgens, Dotseth, Tansky unable to control it. And the Coyotes have a 2-0 lead. I'd like to see this if you're Coach Williamson, because you started to see, though maybe your team hit the snooze button earlier, got off to that slow start, but then as the set went along, able to ultimately figure some things out, find some rhythm. And now that's carried over into the second set with a quick 2-0 lead as Moisture again mopped up off the floor. This was an issue, especially for, I don't know why, New Hampshire, but it just seemed like the towel fouled the Wildcats throughout yesterday's action. Outside Petke. Jurgens finding Loshin. Knocks it back. And Dotseth, that from Jurgens. Tansky, Petke. In the front, Dotseth getting the angle. Played by Patlovich. Tansky outside with Watton. That was dug by Sauer. Dotseth tapping it over. Tansky. Petke. Late dive in that back row. Late break there for Sauer. Hard-earned first point of the second set for New Hampshire. Ball in the hands of Logan Welty. 1 point at libero, then an outside hitter. Her first couple of years now with New Hampshire. Dotseth, Jurgens, Loshin. Point there for South Dakota. Making that look easy. And now it's a 3-1 lead for the Coyotes. Rasmussen. Mentioned her accolades with Wisconsin Lutheran High School. 2-time All-Conference, 2-time All-State honorable mention. Averaged about 4.6 digs per set in her career. Also had 180 service aces during her time. Essentially down the road at Wisconsin Lutheran High School. Blocked there in front but kept alive. And Dotseth had it blocked. Rasmussen, Dotseth. A little more force. And the Coyotes lead 4-1. Fox, we haven't been a story yet, although we've seen some of that net play from New Hampshire, but so far in this matchup, they've only been a combined 3 successful blocks. Rasmussen, Smith, Patlovich, Smith, Patlovich, Petke, getting caught up by Wilson, who tried to block it. It stayed with her. She went down, and a tough recovery there for Dotseth. Ball in the hands now, Emily Tansky. First team All-Conference in 2016, was part of the America East All-Rookie team that year as well. And you know, she's excelled. She comes through the service ace here. That success in these type of tournaments, these non-conference tournaments, who is named to the Beantown Challenge All-Tournament team in 2016. A year in which Tansky was the only Wildcat to play all 116 sets. Dotseth out of bounds. 4-4 the score despite the quick start for South Dakota. New Hampshire responds with 3 straight. Rasmussen, Jurgens, Loshin, off Tansky, and a 5-4 lead for South Dakota. And the Coyotes making a change that will bring Fonseca back in. The junior from Aurora, Colorado, played a few matches last year, first year with South Dakota. Had 14 services in those opportunities. She has now helped the Coyotes take a 6-4 lead. Fonseca will continue. Also contributing defensively, added as many as 17 digs in a matchup last year. Did so against Omaha on the 3rd of November. Patlovich, Smith. Pretty good court vision early in this second set for both sides. And for Smith, a great placement of that particular ball and recording her now 6th kill of the match. Hitting 500 right now at this point is Kennedy Smith. Boy, an opportunity there for Olhava. She tapped it, but then a double touch. Could not get it over the top tape. Otherwise, she had an easy point right there staring her in the face, but unable to recover. And a double hit violation going against New Hampshire. Coyotes lead 7-5. Dotseth on the set by Patlovich. Olhava coming through with a kill. Olhava in front of both Dotseth and Fonseca. Molly Watton will sub back in. Been with this team now for 5 seasons after seeing 2014 was a redshirt because of injury. One of the more experienced players of the 5 seniors for at New Hampshire, but again, they only lost 2 seniors from last year and added 3 freshmen. Patlovich, Olhava, Jurgens, on over with Wagamester. Tansky going head over heels. Out of the outside with Watton. Now Jurgens, Wilson, Tansky, Patlovich, Olhava, and Wilson in front. And a 4-hit violation is going to go against New Hampshire. So Taylor Wilson beyond the service line now. Back in her high school days in Indiana, helping her program went back-to-back Indiana State Championships, led the team in blocks and kills all 4 years at high school level, which include a number of accolades. So a point here involving New Hampshire. They're down 1. 8-7 the score. Olhava. Rasmussen with Grathoff on the setup. Getting Dotseth again involved, and that's going to work. Give the assist that time to Emily Grathoff. Now substitution will bring Elizabeth Loshin back into the South Dakota 6. Change here that sees Jenny Weston in for New Hampshire. Weston yesterday ended up playing in 2 out of a possible 8 sets. A junior from Canton, Massachusetts. Last year the team's Coaches Award winner. Usually players who contribute to the team, but those contributions are not necessarily visible to those outside the team. But considered the ultimate team player is Weston, who played in 27 matches last year and played 62 of 102 total sets after in a single match played her true freshman year. Jurgens to Smith, Patlovich coming across with Wiedenfeld. That was Wagamester who gets the point for South Dakota. The Coyotes up 11-7. Timeout, New Hampshire. New Hampshire 1-0. We're in set number 2 out of the best of 5. It's match 5 of 6, and you're tuning to Panther Invitational coverage on the Black and Gold Network. 3 kills in this second set only for Haley Dotseth has helped propel South Dakota to this 11-7 set 2 lead. Also, Lauren Sauer with 3 more digs. Sauer already 11 digs in the matchup. Only player besides the 2 setters that is in double figures in any category. New Hampshire winning the first set, 25-21. We come to from the Klotz Center in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Matt Menzel and coverage of the 20th run into the Panther Invitational. It is day 2, the second and final day, match 5 of 6 in the final match. Third and final for these 2 programs, both coming in with 1 victory and 1 defeat. Patlovich as New Hampshire responding out of the timeout. Jurgens and the windup with Wagamester. Following the attacking error, that being the 3rd of the set now for South Dakota. It's their 10th of the match. Patlovich. Jurgens, Loshin, Tansky. That was Rasmussen digging out the return by Watton. Wagamester laying out. You had Patlovich, and now Smith on the return there. And the Yotes benefiting from Jurgens' finish. And Jurgens has done that a few times now, as she has 3 kills in this matchup, along with her 17 assists. 12-9 South Dakota. Following this matchup, they will head back home. They get ready for the South Dakota Classic. They will host next Friday and Saturday. That from the Sanford Coyote Sports Center, which opened in 2016, as Mopgate continues. Cannot escape the Wildcat side of the net. 12-9 South Dakota. Patlovich, Rasmussen, and Dotseth. That got by both Smith and by Tansky. And a substitution into the New Hampshire lineup. Appears that Maddie Wiedenfeld will sub back in. And it's going to be played instead by Watton. Loshin on back again with Dotseth. There you saw Grathoff. Patlovich. Jurgens for Dotseth. Tansky. Smith. Nice block in front. Yeah, Dotseth, but it was Grathoff got the majority of that deflection. Coyotes up 14-9. Mentioned the program picked up its 500th all-time victory last night with their win against Milwaukee. The first time the Coyotes have knocked off Milwaukee in 4 all-time meetings. Long serve here for Sauer. Team out 500, 877, and 3. Their all-time record in 40. Now, this will be the 45th season of Coyotes volleyball, but they've been a Division I program since 2009 after being independent for 1 year in Division II before that. They've been part of the Summit League since 2011. 4-point lead. Trying to tie this matchup up at a set apiece. Smith. Rasmussen. Dotseth. 15-10 Coyotes. 9 kills now for Haley Dotseth. And she averaged a team best 3.1 kills per set yesterday, and maybe got off to a slower start in that first matchup, but started to look like the all-league performer that she has been. Two out of her first 3 collegiate seasons as the day wore on, and no different here as she has been leading the charge here, not only in this matchup, but even in the second set alone. She has been the team leader right now in kills. 5 of those 9 kills have come in the second set. And a service ace, which for South Dakota is their first of the set, second of the match, and it belongs there to Rasmussen. Her 3rd service ace of the year. And a timeout, the final of the set for New Hampshire. It's all South Dakota right now here in set 2 up 17-10 on the Black and Gold Network. Well, in set number 1, it was New Hampshire winning 25-21, and they were pretty much in control from start to finish with only one tie and one lead change. Now, flip it around here in set 2, it's South Dakota up 17-10, and there's been one tie. That's it. Otherwise, they have been in control, trying to tie this matchup up at one set apiece. It is match number 5 of 6. It's day number 2 of 2 of the Panther Invitational in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, to begin the 2018 Women's College Volleyball season. Glad to be along on this Saturday afternoon on the Black and Gold Network in New Hampshire. Scoring a point out of the timeout. They're out of timeouts now in this set. Emily Tansky. Some miscommunication there. It sounded like somebody called the other off, but it was Jurgens who played the ball. Smith, who will finish off that sequence with a kill. 9 now. 9 kills for Kennedy Smith, hitting .375 at this point. Has added 6 digs. It has been Tansky who has led the way with 8 thus far for New Hampshire in the dig category. Smith again. Lotion. Pavlovich. Smith. And Smith is out of bounds. Big point that could have been for New Hampshire. And instead, the Yotes looking at a 6-point advantage with Fonseca, who has been a serve specialist. Finding Pavlovich, and now Olhava squeaks it by the combo of Wilson and Dotset. Both there in time, but Olhava able to find a way to score the point. Olhava now with 5 kills. She's in 273, has added a couple of digs and a block. Jurgens out to Dotseth. Pavlovich, Olhava. Wilson. Tansky on the dig. Pavlovich, Olhava off the block of Wilson, and the ball deflects out off Wilson. Back-to-back for New Hampshire. They're back to within 4, 18-14. New Hampshire with 7 of their 10 errors in this match in this set. Jurgens. Wilson stuffing it home for a point. Wagamester back in, replacing Fonseca. Haley Dotseth. Outside hitter, but at times has been key to the Coyotes defense in years past. You look back to 2016. As Weston back in for New Hampshire, Dotseth had a career high of 27 digs in the matchup against Oregon State on September 9th. 10-plus digs that year before, again, focusing your attention on the offensive end, and as many as 23 kills in the match last October. The point for Wagamester. (20-14) Coyotes. Keeping the serve with Seth. A staple of this program, and what a job that she has done is Olhava. Jurgens, Wagamester, Tansky came sliding across that back. Olhava. And now Jurgens, Seth, Patlovich, Tansky, Smith. And again, you see the setter Jurgens effective in scoring another point off her fourth kill. You go back though, and for the Coyotes, 2016 they were tied for first with Denver in the Summit League. Heck of a year that would see a score record 25 wins. Eventually lost in the tournament championship to Denver. The 320-plus win seasons with 23 back-to-back win years at the Division II level in 2007 and 2008. Four straight for South Dakota. Olhava. Too much on the push. Over in South Dakota. As right now, the Wildcats will bring Molly Jerezik, who we saw make her season debut on the nightcap yesterday. She subs in. She has been the number 2 setter for the Wildcats in the past. South Dakota now serving for set number 2. What a duration of this second, says the Coyotes have scored the last 6 points. Off the top tape, a service ace for Seth to end it. 25-14, and South Dakota ending the second set on a 7-0 run. Match even now at 1 set apiece. No surprise. In a season that so far, at least for New Hampshire, has seen both of their first 2 matchups 1-1 and becoming a best of 3. No different here against the Coyotes. Set 3 coming away next as we continue from Milwaukee, Wisconsin, the Panther Invitational on the Black and Gold Network. It now becomes the best of 3 between South Dakota and New Hampshire. Each of these programs' final matches here in the 20th running of the Panther Invitational in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. On the Black and Gold Network, let it be long. One more match still to come that will get underway at approximately 3 p.m. Central Time over on ESPN Plus as the 2-0 Northwestern Wildcats meet the 0-2 Milwaukee Panthers. Well, so far in this one, you saw New Hampshire taking the first set 25-21, but South Dakota scoring the last 7 points of that second set to win 25-14. Right now the Coyotes hitting 234, New Hampshire at 124. There's only been 2 ties and a lead change this entire match, so typically who's ever been able to take that lead early has been able to carry it all the way through the set for the victory. So we'll see who gets off to the quick start here, and that trend continues. Note that for New Hampshire, Alexa Markman gets the start here out of the intermission. Grathoff, net violation is going to go against New Hampshire. The Coyotes have gotten 9 kills from Haley Dotseth, 19 assists for Madison Juergens, 11 digs for Lauren Sauer, and a total of 4 team blocks. New Hampshire with 9 kills for Kennedy Smith, 19 assists for Emma Patlovich. A service ace for the Coyotes, their 4th of the match. Juergens with her 2nd. New Hampshire also has gotten 10 digs from Patlovich, 10 for Tansky, so Patlovich with a double-double, 2 total team blocks. Watton, as Rasmussen finds Juergens, who finds Lotion, and that's going to be a point in front of Kennedy Smith. So Patlovich, right now for New Hampshire, has a double-double. And a double-double against Milwaukee, as well did Patlovich. And a double-double against Northwestern as well. So a strong start for the team setter, Smith. How about this start for the Coyotes, up 4-0. Already hitting 500 to start this set. New Hampshire at -250. Juergens to Smith. Patlovich. Into the net goes Petke. It's a 5-0 lead for the Coyotes. If you go back to that second set, they've scored the last now 12 points in this matchup of the Coyotes. Tansky to Smith. Juergens. And you see Wagamester continue this trend. Right now, New Hampshire with Markman, Watton. Patlovich in front, Smith, Tansky, and Petke in the back. Smith plays it. Patlovich will find Watton over the block. That got by both Lotion and Grathoff. And so finally a side out and a point here for New Hampshire. Ends a run of 13 consecutive scored by South Dakota dating back to the end of set number 2. 6-1 Yotes. Service here against Patlovich. And the Coyotes with Sauer back in, replacing Wagamester. Patlovich on over with Petke. Tansky. Watton off the hand of Grathoff. Juergens finding Lotion into the back. That's off Tansky. Coming over is Patlovich. Watton. Point here for New Hampshire. New Hampshire trying to get out of here with 2 victories and a defeat. Last year they went 1-3 to start the year with a tournament at St. John's. As again, New Hampshire getting really good at this mopping thing. Getting a towel involved. Juergens. Mentioned it though before, and that's to credit though. And this team is just hustling and not afraid to dive every which direction, trying to do what they can to keep a rally alive. All about that hustle, working up the sweat. Been a busy couple of days. Oh, got Seth with some force. And I had South Dakota scrambling. After a 6-0 start, don't look down, but New Hampshire scored 4 of the last 5. They're right back in. This third set, they've scored the last 3 points. Juergens, Lotion, and Tansky won't get there. 8-4 now in favor of the Coyotes. Ball in the hands of Rasmussen. Now South Dakota also trying to get out of here with 2 victories and 1 defeat last year. They began their season at 1-2 with a tournament in Wyoming. By the way, one of these teams is leaving here off to a better start than, say, a year ago in their season opening tourney. Juergens, Wilson, Patlovich, Olhava. Juergens with Dotseth on over to Tansky. Patlovich finding Petke on the cross court. Rasmussen, good hustle, and it was sent over but out by Dotseth. And New Hampshire's back to within 2. And we mentioned South Dakota will head back home for a tournament next weekend. Off to Connecticut next weekend for a tournament for New Hampshire after they begin their school year. Do these student athletes come Monday? Could be back around the lunchtime tomorrow. Lunchtime hour. Rasmussen, Dotseth. That was off Olhava. Got some help in front from Hannah Petke. Fonseca in for South Dakota. The Coyotes up 9-6, even at 1 set apiece between these two 1-1 programs. Both expected to factor into the championship races in their respective conferences before all said and done. New Hampshire bringing Jerezik back in along with Wiedenfeld. Molly Jerezik. 27 matches last year at a team high, 34 service aces, which was 3rd best in the America East Conference. And she's out here to serve here. She also was number 2 on the team in assists, 5th on the team in digs, and 4 double-doubles in the assist dig department. Point here for South Dakota, though. Dotseth will drop back with Wagemester back in. Out goes Sauer. That stays in for the service ace. New Hampshire was yelling out. We will have our first challenge of the day. That from head coach Jill Hershinger. Was it in, was it out? We'll find out. NCAA across the board with the challenge system. And again, for those that may be new to what the challenge system is all about, here's what can be reviewed. Was it in, was it out? You heard the entire New Hampshire team yell out. But the official said in, and as it sits right now, it's a service ace for Haley Dotseth. We'll see if we can pick up the replay. Again, the officials have the 2 angles you are seeing at home, the sideline view, the end line view. And we'll check it out. Was it in, was it out? But that's awfully close. Boy, it almost looks like it's right there on the line at the end line. And from that sideline view. And so following the first of 3 allotted challenges for New Hampshire, the point will stand. A service ace for Dotseth. I mean, you talk about so many sports, you call it a game of inches. That was literally an inch or 2 from being out of bounds. Coyotes now with 5 service aces in the match, 2 in this set. Dotseth has 2 along with Juergens. Rasmussen added a service ace as well. Smith. Juergens. Point for Wagamester. In high school, a 3-year varsity letter winner. Also in club, helped her club team qualify 2 times for the USA Volleyball Nationals, both in the open and national divisions. For her high school team won the conference title in 2016, and she was named to the Iowa Volleyball Coaches Association All-Star team. Again, New Hampshire using the towel on their side of the net. With that set, back to serve, and look out in front. Wilson was ready, as was Wagamester. They were both ready to pounce, and they did, in scoring the South Dakota point. Timeout, New Hampshire. First timeout taken in this set for either side. It's 13-7. Coyotes up by 6. Even a 1 set apiece. It's match 5 of 6 in the Panther Invitational from Milwaukee, Wisconsin on the Black and Gold Network. New Hampshire down 13-7. They'll be on 6-0 to start this matchup, and a set that has seen South Dakota lead throughout. They have scored now the last 4 points in this third set. A matchup even at 1 set apiece. We continue with the 20th running to the Panther Invitational. Our final match here on the Black and Gold Network before we will switch things over to the ESPN Plus feed for Milwaukee and Northwestern, and approximately 3 p.m. to wrap up the event. And then stay tuned to your respective school websites for the all-tournament team, which will be announced following that match. Jurgens, Wagamester right at Welty, Ohava, and the setup coming with Wilson. Got the hookup. That from Jurgens. Now a point scored here by New Hampshire to end the 4-0 South Dakota run. Wildcats will bring Molly Watton in. Smith serving. Kennedy Smith, her line so far in this matchup, 10 kills, 6 errors, 25 swings, a 160 hitting percentage, 1 assist, 1 service ace. Well, the team's 3, but has also added 7 digs. There's Taylor Wilson. As of now, this time it's South Dakota getting into the towel game. But right now for New Hampshire, note that Jerezik is the team setter. We're getting the opportunity here with Patlovich getting a breather and a service 8 for Smith, her second now in this match. Her first 2 of the year, that for Kennedy Smith. Last year had a total of 26 over the course of the 27 matches she appeared in. Yeah, making sure no moisture on the floor. Got a good squeak of the shoes. That's Fonseca. Yesterday, the air conditioning out here inside the Klatschi Center, I believe they still do, but wouldn't know it. Very humid outside, more so than yesterday. And that one here inside the gym is a point scored here for New Hampshire, and Smith will continue with the Wildcats right back to within 3. Jurgens, that's blasted out of here. 13-11 South Dakota. Things getting tight now. After the Coyotes in control from the start. Jurgens over with Wilson, and that's off of Jerezik. 14-11 now, the Coyotes up 3. And for South Dakota, dropping back is Taylor Wilson, the senior middle blocker from Indiana. Been a fun player to watch. Certainly will be in the conversation for all tournament team, and now she delivers a service ace. So make that 3 service aces in the set, 6 for the match for the Coyotes. Wilson to Tansky, Jerezik, Wienfeld, New Hampshire benefiting from a net violation against the Coyotes. Wilson's line though, 5 kills, 3 blocks. Should have a service ace as well. 15-12 the score. And a service there that's going to go against Gabriel Hava. That's the 4th service error against New Hampshire. Both teams with 4 errors on the serve. 16-12 South Dakota. Jurgens. Smith calling everybody off. Jerezik on the hookup with Maddie Wiedenfeld, but out of bounds, and I think New Hampshire, well, right now, they were hoping it was tipped. It was not, and not worth looking at. Into the net for Jurgens. So that brings Patlovich back in, and again, she'll be the setter out top of being the server. Anna Petke into the front row. Petke early on this season. 22 kills in the first 2 matchups. Patlovich with a service ace. Petke last year, 10+ kills, 8 separate occasions. So Patlovich coming up with the ace, number 3 on the team in service aces last year with 27. Jurgens. And the wind up and kill. Wagamester on that finish. She'll head off, being replaced by Lauren Sauer. 18-14 South Dakota. They won the second set after losing set 1, but in that first set able to end it. Nice little run. Made things interesting, that carried over. Now it's carried over into this third set, although New Hampshire by no means is going away. Out is Watton, in is Welty. Welty's gonna serve. We saw Emma Patlovich part of that front row. Jurgens on the back pedal. Dot set blocked. Petke was there. Got some help from Markman. Markman, who played 8 matches last year, played 4 matches the year before after not seeing a single match her freshman year. And a timeout being taken by South Dakota. Their lead has dwindled down to 2. But Markman, go back to 2016, one of her appearances of the 4 matches and 5 sets she played. She played 2 sets against the Cleveland State Vikings. They're expected to win the Horizon League again. Cleveland State is, that is, after they've been atop the Horizon League since the last now 3 seasons or so. Oakland able to sneak in there with a conference title as well. If you're the Coyotes, all right, jumped in front 6-0, had the lead throughout. Now all of a sudden, leads down to 2. What do you do? New Hampshire continuing to get a nice balanced attack offensively. They've gotten already 8 players involved on the attack. 25 assists for Patlovich. Tansky with 12 digs, but 11 for Patlovich as well. And able to limit the errors, have the Wildcats in this set. South Dakota, 11 kills from Dotson. They too have a nice attack, or a balance here, has included 6 players with kills, 26 assists for Madison Jurgens, and a couple of players in double figures for Diggs. New Hampshire's the lone block now in this set. Can the Wildcats complete the comeback? Logan Welty. (18-16) Coyotes. Jurgens. Dotseth over the block. Patlovich, Petke, and the Wildcatcher back to within one. It's been an uphill battle throughout the set. New Hampshire with 3 straight points. Jurgens with Lotion down the middle, but blocked by Markman. First tie of the set. After South Dakota jumped in front 6-0. (18-18) here in set 3. Match tied at 1 set apiece. Patlovich, Smith, tough angle. That was deflected by Lotion. Got some help from Grathoff. Jurgens down the middle, Grathoff off of Markman, off of Smith, and Tansky. No recovery from Patlovich. And South Dakota back in front, 19-18. You have to go back to early. I mean, first couple of points of set number 2 the last time New Hampshire had a lead in this match. Rasmussen. Patlovich on back with Markman into the block, or at least ready. You had Wilson. A tough spot to be in for Markman, going back and trying to sway the momentum. Going into the net there with the attacking error. Rasmussen, Tansky, Patlovich, Smith, Rasmussen, and Dotseth to that back row. Petke, that's flying toward the South Dakota sideline. That was off of Jurgens. (20-19). The Coyote lead again is down to 1. Jurgens. Lotion. Back up to 2. New Hampshire was able to battle back, tying things up, but again, not been able to go for that hump and take a lead in this third set. Fonseca serving for South Dakota. Smith finds Patlovich. Petke, and kept alive. That was by Smith, but then caught by surprise, Logan Welty. Awkward spot here in that back row. Timeout, Wildcats. Each team had 1 timeout left. Now make it just 1 left for the Coyotes. Nice job in settling down after watching New Hampshire tied things up at 18. The Coyotes responding, having scored now 4 of the last 5. Getting the kill from Emily Grathoff. And an attacking error against Alexa Markman made it 20-18. New Hampshire got back to win the 1 off a kill by Hannah Petke. But now again built that lead back up with back-to-back points. First a kill by Elizabeth Lotion off the assist from Madison Jurgens. And then a kill from Haley Dotseth off an assist from Mehana Fonseca. Who's going to take that 2-1 lead? South Dakota 3 points away from accomplishing that feat. They've gotten 12 kills from Haley Dotseth on this Saturday. And thereafter, there are another 5 players with between 4 and 9 kills each. Kennedy Smith with 10 kills, Petke with 7, Ohava with 7. The lead New Hampshire was hitting 157 for the match. South Dakota at 250. (22-19) South Dakota. In fact, you have to go back, looking at the numbers. Mentioned that New Hampshire last had a lead in this matchup early in that second set. They haven't had a lead since the end of the first set. There was a tie, never a lead change in that second set. Tansky after the windup by Wilson. Been one tie in the second set, one tie here in the third set, nothing thereafter. So Fonseca. And the Coyotes 2 points away from taking this third set. They've now responded with 3 straight. 1 point tied at 18, the only tie. Smith, that's gonna be a 4-hit violation. The Coyotes serving for set number 3. In the driver's seat throughout. They scored the first 6 of the set after they scored the last 7 of set 2. Fonseca, short, and that's gonna be it. A 25-19 win for South Dakota, scoring the last 5. They've had strong ends to both sets 2 and 3 to take now a 2-1 match lead. We'll come back with set 4 as we continue with the Panther Invitational. It's match 5. We're in Milwaukee, Wisconsin on the Black and Gold Network. What a third set for South Dakota, now up 2-1. They jumped in front, 6-0 to start. Really never looking back. Yes, New Hampshire played comeback and they tied things up at 18. But the Coyotes were able to end the match by scoring the last 5 points and 7 of the last 8. Following the 18-18 tie, and they now find themselves a set away from leaving here with 2 victories and 1 defeat. New Hampshire has not led since they ended the first set, victorious at 25-21. This match has only seen, again, 3 ties, 1 lead change. We mentioned prior to the third set, the way things have gone in this match, whoever's gotten off to that nice start, of that early lead, has been able to finish things off and has been able to put together a complete set performance. Right now, the Coyotes hitting .257 for the match, New Hampshire at 144. 5-4 South Dakota in blocks. Already Emma Patlovich is a double-double for New Hampshire with assists and digs. And Madison Jurgens with a double-double off assists and digs for South Dakota. There with Wagamester. So the Coyotes with a 1-0 lead. Got to keep things rolling here. And again, they've been playing with the lead throughout this entire matchup. With the exception, again, of that first set. And again, with the exception of a couple of ties. One in both sets 2 and 3. Off Smith and a service ace for Sauer. South Dakota now with 8 service aces today. That will give South Dakota a total 24 now in these 3 matches in Milwaukee. Patlovich, Petke, Rasmussen. We saw Lotion, Tansky, Petke, Rasmussen, Dotseth, off Smith. Set up on that far side with Watton. And the Coyotes again off to a 3-0 start. Well, they scored the first 6 in set 3. The first 3 so far here in set 4. Patlovich. That's off Rasmussen. Dotseth gave way to Rasmussen with Patlovich. Petke out of the back, couple players collide, but Rasmussen was right there to make the adjustment. To the back row, that will stay in bounds. Markman in front with Watton. 3-1 Coyotes. Markman with that kill. Their second kill now in the match. 8 now with kills for New Hampshire. Tansky, Petke. The blocks it up, but it deflected off Dotseth. She was in front, same thing. And front row with Claire Gertis playing for the first time this weekend. So 14 out of a possible 15 have played for the Coyotes this weekend. Claire Gertis being the latest, the fresh middle blocker at Cedar Falls, Iowa. Smith. Rasmussen. Dotseth. Gertis in high school, a 4-year varsity letter winner. 3-year All-Metro team member. Second team All-Conference, and we'll mention All-Conference. Her team state qualifier twice, a runner-up in 2016. On top of her club team, being a national qualifier for 6 consecutive years. Long went Dotseth. Right now, the Coyotes have Wilson, Dotseth, and Lotion back in. But Jurgens also put in that front row as Tansky. Jurgens, Wilson. 4-4 the score. Now can New Hampshire take their first lead since ending set 1. Emily Tansky trying to do that. But a service error. Number 5 for New Hampshire. Fonseca back in. Tansky to Smith. The block in off the shoulder Wilson, and then it was looked like it was kicked by Dotseth into the face of Jurgens. Everybody appears to be all right. New Hampshire again has tied things up at 5. They're trying to force the first 5-set match of the weekend. New Hampshire was 5-2 in 5-set matches a year ago. Jurgens with Wilson. 6-5 South Dakota. Still New Hampshire's not been able to go to the hump and take the lead. Couple of ties though. Following the Fonseca towel mop-up job. He's gotten good at that. Well, New Hampshire now needs to do the same. Now Dotseth ready to go. But it's almost like icing a kicker in football here with these stoppages. That for the server. A lot of time to think about it. In this case, both teams having to take a moment to get moisture off the court. Into the net, Logan Welty. And Dotseth has been one of those in-rhythm servers for the Coyotes, especially today. Has had a couple of service aces to her credit. Has had a full stat line. Olhava missed time to jump. And South Dakota's back up 3. And Dotseth with 13 kills, 1 assist, couple of service aces, 4 digs, and a couple of blocks. Figures she'll be part of the Panther Invitational All-Tournament team as announced following the 6th and final match. Dotseth with a service error. Watton to the front row for New Hampshire. Here's Kennedy Smith. Jurgens, Wilson. To Watton, Olhava trying to provide the block on that left side for New Hampshire. Back into the front row, you have Clara Gertis. Wilson with the jump serve. Back with Smith. And trying to knock it over at Wiedenfeld. Jerezik back out there at the setter position. Back with Taylor Wilson on the South Dakota serve. Wegemester, now Smith. Watton, out of bounds. Makes it 11-6 Coyotes. They've now scored the last 3. We're actually looking for answers. We'll bring both Petke and their primary setter as of this weekend, Emma Patlovich, back onto the floor. Tansky, Patlovich, Olhava. That got caught up in between both Gertis and Wagemester. 11-7, Coyotes lead at 4. Serve coming here for Gabri Olhava. Over there for Claire Gertis. Her first kill at the collegiate level. Her first set of the season as the Coyotes play what is their 11th set of the season. 12-7 South Dakota. Right now the Coyotes, they're hitting 250 for the set, 256 for the match. With Gertis's kill, that now makes a total of 7 with kills in this South Dakota attack among the 11 who have seen playing time. New Hampshire's going a little bit deeper. Petke, Rasmussen, and the setup for Gertis again. And now making the most, and got to believe that confidence level starting to skyrocket. From a couple of nice swings here. Off the top tape. And now Patlovich on over with Petke. That goes long. (14-7), and South Dakota now with 3 consecutive. They've now scored 6 of the last 7. 9 of the last 11 after a couple of ties by New Hampshire. Wagemester in front there with Patlovich. Patlovich on, back, Petke. And a long run here is Lotion. Will swing over to Wagemester. That deflected off of Patlovich. And the Coyotes lead 15-7. Media timeout here. with a 15-7 lead for South Dakota. At least that was the horn. We'll see that's in fact the case. Both teams still have 2 timeouts remaining, but apparently there's no media timeouts in this matchup, only for the matchup involving Milwaukee. But now New Hampshire will take a timeout, and so forget about that confusion, but it's going to be a New Hampshire timeout. We'll take it with them as South Dakota leads 15-7. They're going to close out this match up 2-1 on the Black and Gold Network. New Hampshire trying to avoid the same fate as yesterday, their matchup against Northwestern, in which they won the first set but then lost sets 2, 3, and 4 to lose the match. They won the first set here, and they've been playing from behind throughout since. They've managed to tie the match 4 times, but have not had a lead since the end of the first set. And Lotion, out of the New Hampshire timeout, enhances the Coyotes' lead to 16-7. 5 straight now for South Dakota, who's had some impressive runs already in this matchup. South Dakota, an impressive 357 attack percentage here in this 4th set. Negative 105 for New Hampshire. No one with more than 1 kill right now in the New Hampshire attack. Been 2 ties, but again, the Coyotes have since been able to create the separation. Looking to win another 4-setter. First of this year, though, after they were able to sweep Milwaukee for their first win of the year last night. Wagemester over with Watton. Coyotes last year were 4-3 in 4-set matches. New Hampshire was 0-7. Either 1-3 or 5, never in 4. And until yesterday when they beat Milwaukee in their season opener. Patlovich. Jurgens. That was down the middle with Gertis. Well, she's come on in her first set. She's had 3 swings, has recorded 3 kills. Sauer back in. 17-8 South Dakota. I'm back with Gertis on the windup and another kill following the touch by Emily Tansky. Make it 4 for 4 now for Claire Gertis in her collegiate debut. Not a replay, but now it's a double towel job for New Hampshire. If nothing else, they have certainly been the invite leaders for most stoppage needed for towel use. It happens. It's happened a lot, though, in this one, in this tournament. Another point. Lotion with the finish. Boy, South Dakota right now enjoying a 7-1 run. And a substitution for New Hampshire. Different look in the front. Abby Sullivan subbing in. Sarah Shelton's been out there. Sullivan yesterday played a single set out of 8 possible. Got Seth, now with 14 kills. That is a match high. 20-8 South Dakota. Another 4 straight to their credit. Into the second set with 7 straight, into the third set with 5 consecutive points, and now looking to end this one just as strong, not stronger. Into the game, Sullivan with a kill. Welty back in, along with Sarah Shelton, who played 14 matches, 18 sets last year. Shelton saw 1 set yesterday between the 2 matches. Women 14 who have played for New Hampshire. Tansky over by Shelton. Rasmussen. Dotseth into the block. Yet Sullivan and Petke. It is block number 5 for the Wildcats. South Dakota with a 10-point lead. It's South Dakota's turn to use the towel. After this, the Coyotes will again head home. They have the South Dakota Classic next Friday, Saturday, with matchups against Northeastern, Cal, Northern Colorado. Gotta watch out for Cal and Pac-12. Conference loaded with talent. Stanford, UCLA figure to be right there among the who's who nationally when all said and done again. The Pac-12 and the Big Ten, 2 strongest volleyball conferences in Division I. Most of the rankings involving schools from those conferences, whether it be top 25 or receiving votes. New Hampshire down 20-11. Also tournaments for South Dakota at Central Arkansas and at Cal State Bakersfield before they open up conference play September 21st at North Dakota State. Big matchups coming up against Denver, October 5th, October 30th. The team that's expected to win the Summit League. Coyotes with 3-9 all-time against Denver. We're going to finish this one first as Welty, New Hampshire, within 8. They've scored the last 4. Jurgens. How about Claire Gertis? Officially with 5 kills in 6 attempts now. But Gertis also has a couple of blocks, hitting .833 in her collegiate debut. One she won't forget is she now heads back to the South Dakota sideline. Petke. Able to split Wilson and Dotseth. 21-13. South Dakota. Beyond the service line, Emily Tansky. After this, the Wildcats will play their first 10 on the road. Head to Storrs, Connecticut next weekend to face UConn, Syracuse, Iowa. Have a non-conference matchup at Bryant, and then a tournament in Kingston, Rhode Island. Rhode Island, Yale, Army. Home opener on September 11th will be against Northeastern before they head to Philly for a tournament hosted by Temple, Princeton, and Maryland, and then their conference opener coming up on September 21st against UMass Lowell, who's been a last place finisher in the America East each of the last 5 seasons. Petke. Rasmussen. Everybody looking up, and that ball came down. 21-14 Coyotes. New Hampshire, Albany's the team to beat, or predicted to be the team to beat in the America East, ahead of the Wildcats. They'll be at Albany on October 14th, host them in the regular season finale as well on November 9th. That's great scheduling right there. That could be your conference championship matchup. Dotseth Make it 22-14 Coyotes. Fonseca in lineup for South Dakota. Petke, Wilson and Dotseth. Jurgens back to Dotseth. One to the back and another point. Beyond the reach there for Logan Welty. 23-14 Coyotes. Timeout here for New Hampshire, their final in this set. And all of a moment, thanks to our crew. Wrap up our coverage on the Black and Gold Network. Don't forget, the next matchup will come your way at approximately 3 p.m. Central Time. It's Milwaukee at 0-2. Takes on 2-0 Northwestern out of the Big Ten. That's on ESPN+. But our crew of Jake, Kyle, Kat, Bethany, Jesse, Bryce, Jeremiah, Seth. A busy couple of days. One match to go. Wrapping up another edition of the Panther Invitational. A 6-match invite. Another 4 teams here with South Dakota, New Hampshire, Milwaukee, and Northwestern this year. The last year it was Milwaukee, South Dakota State, Idaho State, and Virginia Tech. Virginia Tech left here at 3-0. Milwaukee was 3-0 in 2016 when Bradley, Akron, and Western Illinois were also part of this event. Western Illinois predicted to finish 9th and last in the Summit League this season. A team that South Dakota knows awfully well. Fonseca. Patlovich, Olhava, Rasmussen, Dotseth, and the block perfectly for Olhava and Petke. Is block number 2 for New Hampshire in this set. Both teams with 2 blocks in the set. That makes 5 for New Hampshire. Check that, 6 for New Hampshire for the match, 7 for the Coyotes. Petke will find Fonseca. Jurgens will find Wilson off the top tape. And I don't think it was ever touched. And, well, now they're going to say, check that it was, in fact, a forward violation. I was going to say never touched a Wildcat, and it did not. 23-16. Fonseca, Jurgens, Dotseth. And now South Dakota serving for the set and the match. What a showing. In the first set, there was 1 tie, 1 lead change, but New Hampshire won 25-21. But in sets 2, 3, and now 4, there have been a total of 4 ties, but never a lead change. South Dakota's been playing with the lead throughout. Wilson ends it with her 9th kill of the match. And South Dakota is going home at 2-1 with a 3-1 match victory. They lost the first set, you see, 25-21, but then winning sets 2, 3, and 4, 25-14, 25-19, and 25-16. New Hampshire heads home with 1 victory and a couple of defeats. South Dakota got 17 kills from Haley Dotseth, 11 from Elizabeth Loshin, 41 assists from Madison Jurgens, who also had 18 digs. South Dakota hit 276 for the match. New Hampshire got 11 kills from Hannah Petke, 11 from Kennedy Smith, 32 assists from Emma Petlovich, who had 16 digs, as New Hampshire hit 130 for the match. So again, the Coyotes head home for a tournament. New Hampshire will head home before they head out to Storrs, Connecticut for a tournament as they resume their season next weekend. A reminder, 1 more match to go in this 20th run into the Panther Invitational. It's Milwaukee and Northwestern over on ESPN+. We will serve up set 1 of best of 5 at 3 p.m. Central. Thanks to our entire crew behind the scenes. Matt Middles saying so long from the Clatchy Center for now. Again, 3-1 at South Dakota over New Hampshire. You've been watching continuing coverage of the Panther Invitational on the Black and Gold Network.